Howdy again there, YouTube. Hopefully this is going to be the final build section of these video series. So I've got everything together I think I need now, including the selector plate, which is kind of strange. Look at how long that thing's been in that package. But it should work just fine. Got my stainless steel cylinder that's going to go in to replace this brass one that's kind of not very good. So I got that. Got my ASG Infinity Franken-Torque. It's kind of their build on the Franken-Torque, so that'll be going in there. Got some thread locker. Got the other parts that if you've seen the other video, you know what those are. Now for lubrication, I got some Super Lube, and I usually used these Mad Bull greases previously. As you can see, I'm running out, and they're really hard to find now and expensive. So I ended up getting this Echo 1 set. Now I didn't pay that much for it, but I don't know. I'm not seeing any kind of evidence of quality, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to throw this thing together. I've got it wired for the MOSFET now. I just use this thermostat wire, solid copper thermostat wire. And I had this was a front wired Umarex Aries gearbox wiring set that I used. I have some really high silicone wire, but it just doesn't fit inside the gearbox well. So I went ahead and reused this. So we're going to go ahead and try to put this thing together. Hopefully I can get it on the first attempt, but chances are probably not. So stay tuned and we'll get to it. Well, now just for final assembly, I put it together. I actually got it together the first time, no problem. And I dropped the frickin' spring inside the gearbox and had to take it all apart again. So it went together fine the second time. It works great. I have the Kong Super 2 now set up as a MOSFET, so I've got trigger protection, etc. It's still set at the really low level, and with it not in kind of a low powered gearbox, it's really slow firing, so I think I'm going to leave it like that for some of the testing just to see exactly how it fires, because it's really kind of interesting. So this was no big deal. I was kind of hesitant to do it because, I mean, it says in big letters, don't overheat the pad, don't overheat the pad. So what I did was I just kept lowering my soldering iron down until the solder melted at a decent rate, you know, not too globby, and then just kind of tacked it to the pad and, you know, sufficiently so that it's not going to come off, because now that it's wired like this, if that MOSFET should fail, this thing's just going to full auto because it's directly wired from the battery, you know, like a MOSFET is. So it shouldn't do that though. It's got all kinds of built-in fuses and blah 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 inside. So I'm not going to put the sling swivel, decided against that. There was something else. Not going to do the blowback. There's no way to run the piston with it, so I'm not going to do it. Notice the pre-cocking there. I really like that burst wizard. Anyway, I know they got better things, but that was literally 20 bucks. You show me something that can do all that for 20 bucks and I'll buy it. I will buy it. So I've got this 18,000 RPM, that's what I got. I got the swag pack, all I got was some BBs, which is good because I didn't need another one of those spring pistols to give away. Although I'm sure you guys would like it. Anyway, so I'm going to continue. I've got this thing fairly well sorted, so now it's just a matter of getting it in the gun. And hopefully that goes fairly smoothly. Some little wiring things I needed to deal with, but pretty simple stuff. So hopefully the next thing will be me shooting this thing. So stay tuned. That's what it was. I didn't paint the gearbox. Why? No one's ever going to see it. So I did put that spring in there, but I ended up having to cut a couple coils off, and it doesn't really, I mean, there was coil bind going on, so having this extra spring in there, I mean, this is a really tough spring too. I don't remember which one this one was, which I guess doesn't really help me, but I was getting coil bind, so I needed to lose some coils anyway, because I've got a ball bearing back here and I got a ball bearing up here, so to make up for that space I needed to lose some coils. So there it is, and let's see, guess that's it. Okay, well, I spent all day struggling with the air seal on this thing. So when I first got it together, it was 139 feet per second, and I was crushed, totally crushed. But the air nozzle isn't extending far enough in here, so now I have to wait for parts. So I ordered 2 different extra length nozzles from Retro Arms, one 19.8 millimeter and one 20 millimeter. Now a 20.4 millimeter is an MP5 air nozzle, so I don't have one, but I figured I'll try those 2 first, and then if I have to, I'll order that one. And that should give me plenty of penetration, that's what she said, into my hop-up unit. And that, I think, is the main crux. But right now it's shooting 360, 370 with 0.28 gram BBs. It seems to shoot really well, really accurately. I like the Retro Arms trigger, that's really nice. I was able to package everything up pretty neatly in the stock. That's the sum total of my electronics. It's mini Tamiya just because that's what was wired to the board, and if you overheat these boards, you're pretty much hosed. So the stock turned out pretty much the way I wanted. It's got some fitting I need to do in a couple places, but it's not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to look like this, if you're wondering. Check out my other videos if you want to see the rest of the build series, but I'm getting closer. So we're going to wait for those parts, but in the meantime I'm going to build the rest of the gun. I should have never used this gearbox. I should have just used a regular gearbox. And I have another one. I might end up swapping parts over and going that way. I'm not sure. We'll see. So like I said, about 360, 370 with 0.28 gram BBs, which isn't bad, but that's not really what I'm shooting for. And I just need to get that air nozzle a little bit further in. So Retro Arms also is producing pre-order for POM milled tappet plates for version 2 and version 3. So I'm going to get in on that, and if you want one, you should probably get on it too, because it seems like Retro Arms, once they sell out on something, that's just it. You don't get another chance at them. So I use the stainless fasteners where you can see them. I use the black ones where you can't. Kind of little custom touches to it here and there. Nothing too crazy. I want to kind of keep it externally nice, you know, just factory looking. So I'll put the cleaning rod back. I'm not going to put the sling swivel. I think I already said that in the other episode, on the side. I really don't like it on the side of the receiver, but I really also don't have the right sling swivel hardware. So if I get that, I might do that. I just really don't want to spend too much more money on the gun, so right now I'm going to cut and I'll do the price breakdown for what I've got in it so far and what I just ordered. So I'm going to have to take the Pt.4 off of the build since it's not going to be on the gun at all anyway. So that'll save me 50 bucks, but I have a feeling I'm already pretty close to the total of the budget. So I'll cut and I'll add that up and we'll see the damage. So I'm just going to run through this real quickly. These were all from the previous one. You can watch that one, and that was like pretty far ahead here. But now I got my donor parts. I wanted to get this for my documentation. I have an ASG Ultimate trigger switch. It's got a polycarbonate piston with a full steel rack. It's got a stainless ball bearing spring guide. It's got an M130 spring, a piston head with ball bearings. It's one of those with the kind of swirly plastic deals. I might change that later when I open the gearbox again. The selector gear for the safety and selector on the side, I had to change that because the other one was broken. A wiring set. So then I get down to my EVIC orders. The SAT air nozzle, which I'm going to end up pitching anyway, was 12 bucks. I'll use it in another build, I guess. The Infinity motor was 60 bucks. The CNC cylinder from Angel Custom was 15 bucks. They were on sale from 25, so 10 bucks off. So when you add all this up, not counting any of the donor parts, because I didn't pay for those this time, although I did pay for them at some point. My total was $310.57. So as the gun sits right now, it's $310.57. My investment. The retail would have cost me $492. So for $310, I have a $500 gun. Now my Retro Arms order was 50 bucks, and that included the 2 air nozzles, extended length, a CNC, one of these little nuts that goes in here, that tappet plate, and I think that's pretty much it. I might have got a nut, I'm not sure, but that's pretty much the sum total. And it was 50 bucks shipped. So that's, oh, I got a CNC hop-up arm. So that was 50 bucks. So that would bring my total to 360.59, and the total for retail would be 542. So hopefully that'll get me in the feet per second range that I'm looking for. If not, I can always go bigger on the spring. The motor can definitely pull it. The motor's got plenty of torque to pull whatever spring I want to put in there. But I want to make sure that I've got all the air stuff figured out before I get to that point. So far, that's it for the budget. So anything else is going to have to be made by yours truly. So there we go. Budget reached. So anything else is going to have to come out of my rear end. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.